I feel like I owe you an apology, or at the very least, an explanation as to why I stopped sharing garden tours, because so many of you joined this cozy community to experience the magic of nature with me up here in Vermont. But last year, I didn't share any, and I never really explained why, and I think you deserve to know. So I thought today we could have a little chat about it while also finally filling these raised beds with some veggies and flowers, because I am so freaking excited that it is finally gardening season and have been dreaming of this day all winter long. So if that's what you want to see, then keep on watching. But first, we need to head to my local nursery and grab some plants. I don't think I have ever gotten this many plants for the garden. Like, this little greenhouse my wife got me is completely stuffed, and I'm so excited to see the beds all full and green and lush. But I think I'm gonna get started with these flowers because it's gonna be easiest and it's gonna give me that little dopamine hit I need to get through the rest of the day of a lot of gardening, and also give me a good opportunity to explain the first reason why I stopped sharing garden tours. I fell into the comparison trap. I would see all of these big, beautiful, abundant gardens here on YouTube, and I would judge mine compared to theirs and get a little bit of imposter syndrome. Like, why would anyone want to see my 6 raised beds and what I'm growing here in Vermont when there's like so many other people out there already doing that? And then I also would judge myself and constantly feel behind because our growing season here is so much shorter. And by the time I'm just planting out my garden, other people are already like harvesting their tomatoes and their cucumbers, and just constantly felt like I was behind and like I wasn't good enough, which I realize is kind of silly because I can't control nature, obviously. That's also one of the reasons why I started sharing garden tours, because not a lot of people in zone 5 were. So I thought it'd be helpful for people to see what they can actually grow and harvest in Vermont in real time. So honestly, it was my own funky limiting beliefs I had to work through, and we finally got there. And that's why today you see we are finally talking about gardening, and I'm showing that we're not planting stuff until literally end of May here. And that's okay and that's normal because that's how nature works. I also feel like this is a really good life lesson and business lesson that you're not behind compared to anybody else, because we all grow and bloom in different seasons. So whether you're comparing yourself to somebody else's career or their relationship or their living situation, whatever that area of your life where you feel like you're not good enough and you're behind, take a little hint from nature. You're not supposed to be growing and blooming at the same rate as them. You're in a different environment, you're in a different season, and that's okay. And maybe we can give ourselves a little bit of grace, like I'm trying to do this year in the garden. Now for the pink petunias and this vinca vine I grabbed, I have this bird bath that is no longer safe for the birds to use because like the paint or the finish is chipping on it, and I don't want them bathing in those chemicals and whatnot. So instead I'm going to turn it into this like beautiful overflowing cascading planter in the middle of our middle garden, and I think it's going to look so whimsical and so cute. Are you here to help Mama? Oh, are you here to eat tiny rocks that you find on the ground? Yeah, I know, favorite pastime. And now we are ready to plant some veggies, and we're gonna get started out with probably the one I went hardest on last year, Roma tomatoes. I had like 20 jars of sauce just from this one bed. And I didn't even get through them all last winter. So I definitely do not need to do that many tomatoes again. This time I'm only doing 6. And I'm also going to do some slicing tomatoes, some marigolds to, help with the pest, a little bit of basil because apparently it makes the tomatoes taste better. I don't know if that's an old wives' tale or true, but we're going to do it. And then I also have some ginormous mammoth sunflowers that are going to go all the way at the end of this bed to kind of cover up a sore site in our backyard. We'll talk more about that another day. But let's get planting these and talking about the second reason why I stopped sharing garden tours. If you run a business, I'm sure you've heard of ROI or return on investment. And usually we're talking in terms of how much money you put into something versus how much profit you make from it. But in this case, I was really thinking about the return on time investment because these garden videos take almost an entire day to film and then multiple days afterwards to edit. And it is a lot of work and a lot of effort. And don't get me wrong, I love creating videos for you on YouTube and helping you have that cozy little escape. But at the time, I was creating weekly videos. So when I would film a monthly garden tour, that would basically take up an entire week in my business. And as a solopreneur, that means nothing else was getting done. And unfortunately, I don't make any money from YouTube. I would love to be monetized on here and have another cozy income stream. But unfortunately, I'm not there yet. So at the time, it was just a lot of effort and manpower that I didn't have. And it was just draining me and also draining my business. So I had to take a step back from it. But back in January of this year, I decided instead of posting weekly on YouTube, I'm going to post every other week. And surprisingly, when I started slowing down, my channel started growing even more, which I always like to affirm, the more you relax, the more you receive. And that's true on here as well. So luckily now creating garden videos and just content in general for this channel doesn't feel like such a big task because I'm not doing it every single week and I get a little bit of a break to focus on other things in my business. And I'm also happy to say my business has grown exponentially as well since making that shift. So it was for the better, but I think I'm finally getting ready to start sharing the joy of gardening and the magic of nature with you again. I just haven't quite figured out exactly what that's going to look like on this channel. So I guess subscribe and we'll see what happens. But I promise you, I'm not going to ghost you again this year in the garden. There will definitely be update videos to all the stuff we're planting today. I just don't exactly know what the timeline for that is going to look like yet. Okay, our biggest garden bed is officially planted. We have Roma tomatoes, slicing tomatoes, basil, mammoth sunflowers, marigolds, and then also this garlic, which is getting so close to harvest. This might be one of my favorite crops I've ever grown. Last year was the first time I did it, and I got 30 cloves out of 30 cloves planted, which I felt pretty happy about. And I also think that was the only garden video I shared last year. So you want to hang out with me for a day in a garden of watering, pruning, harvesting, all that kind of stuff, I will leave that link somewhere here. But now we need to go over to what we call the kitchen garden and plant that out. And then eventually go all the way to the back and plant out those beds with the giant arch. Oh, I have a friend. I guess he liked the all natural bug spray I use. It's a bunch of essential oils to repel mosquitoes, but I guess it attracts bees, which is fine with me. They seem very friendly. So these smaller raised beds over here with the cattle panel arch in between them is what we refer to as our kitchen garden because it's things that I use every single day like cherry tomatoes, picnic peppers, scallions, radishes, carrots, some lettuce if I can squeeze it in there somewhere. And every year I plant these exactly the same way and they're a mirror on either side. So I'm not going to bore you with all of the details, but I do have a question for you. So my wife and I built this little makeshift fence to go around these beds because last year the bunnies completely decimated all of my beans, all of even my onions, which I found really strange. So this was our solution and hope that it will keep them out this year. But I don't love how there's these pieces of wood just sticking up out of the ground. And I was thinking of maybe painting them green so they blend in or flowers on them. Like, I'm not really sure. Should I make them try to disappear or make them like a whimsical focal point of this garden by painting something cute on them? Let me know your ideas down below because I'm not vibing with the wood, but I'm not quite sure what to do either. And we are finally ready to head to the back and plant up all of our squash, zucchini, butternut, watermelon, cantaloupe, celery, kale, onions, all of the things. It's quite a big space back there. And my wife and I also recorded how we built the whole thing. If you're curious how to build cedar raised beds, how to put in a cattle panel arch, we did all of that a couple years ago. So I will link that video somewhere here for you. But we're also finally ready to talk about the last reason, and probably the biggest reason why I stopped sharing garden tours on YouTube. Honestly, filming was taking the joy out of gardening for me. Between setting up all of the different camera angles, worrying about the audio, like if it was really windy or if a neighbor was mowing their lawn, dealing with the humidity, the bugs, the deadlines I would place on myself to get out a video every week, it was just no longer fun, no longer enjoyable. And the whole reason I started my garden was to relax, to slow down, to disconnect from my phone, to enjoy the life that I created for myself. And filming was just ruining that for me. So that is the biggest reason why I stepped away from filming garden tours. And I also always tell my clients that when you are having fun, you will always be the most successful. And I wasn't having fun anymore. And I think that was coming through in all of the videos, right? Your vibes speak louder than your words. And if you're not having a good time, the person on the other end of the screen isn't going to. Or if you're a business owner, if you're creating your products or your services from a place of burnout, resentment, scarcity, any of those things, it's going to be felt in the final product. And I know that's not how you want your clients or your community to feel. So that was really the biggest reason why I stopped sharing garden tours. But now that I have more healthy boundaries with YouTube and some updated equipment, like now I have a microphone, so I don't have to worry about, people being loud around me. And I also just don't have that pressure anymore to constantly be creating videos for YouTube. It can be a lot more fun and a lot more enjoyable. And I hope you feel that on the other side of the screen. But enough of me rambling. Let's get on to planting out the rest of these beds. And with that, our 2026 garden is planted, and I'm so excited to see all of this grow in. The only thing that I didn't plant was this bed behind me because my wife grabbed some poblano and shishito peppers that she's really excited about, but she's not here today to plant them herself. So I left that one open so that way she can get nice and dirty and covered in mosquito bites and sweat like the rest of us. But if you want to see how all of this grows in, make sure to subscribe because I will be giving updates this year, I promise. They may not be monthly because, of everything we discussed together in this video, but you will definitely see me getting down and dirty in the garden again. And you'll also get to see some cozy business hacks and slow living inspiration along the way. And also like this video if you enjoyed it, so that way I know to keep making these, so that way we can keep hanging out in the garden together. As for me though, I need to drag the hose all the way back here and water in all of these babies. So I'm gonna go do that and then probably go get myself a nice coffee because I think I deserve a sweet treat today. Anyways, until next video, stay magical.